Alright guys, Fuller coming to you with another video. I hope all is well. So shout out to African Parasite for his video on this issue. But it appears that certain habits that are here are now coming over into our side of the town. Meaning that certain practices that are like common in the American Black community are coming upon the continental African part of the community. Now, I've been here in California for a while now, and I did notice that coming up. There, colorism was real. There was even one time where I had a roommate who admitted to bleaching his skin because he said he wanted to be like a, I guess you could say, a Egyptian king. I remember those were his words. He did say that he bleached his skin. I know there was a time where, in this I got used to it, but I have strong features, basically. If you were to see me, my nose is like aquiline, but it's defined, my lips are full as well. But still, I guess you can say my cheek, my facial structure and my cheekbones still can make it confusing to tell where I'm from, basically, what part of Africa I'm from. But, when an African saw me, they would be like, oh, okay, what part of Africa are you from? They'll be like, where are you from? I remember one time when I was going into the Ralphs, and this is how we got a friendship with each other, is I was walking into Ralph's, and this Ralph's has since been closed down. I was walking into Ralph's, and I was coming out, and the security guard happened to be a Ghanaian, and he just asked me, where are you from? He just straight out asked me where am I from based on my facial features, based on how I look, and based off of the way I was carrying myself. So, we always knew it was kind of easy for an African to recognize another African, even in mind you, even like an East African will recognize that I was African too, although I come from a different side. However, because I'm I guess you can say I'm dark brown skin, that went against me. You had, I guess you can say you had many people saying I'm too dark. You had many people saying that I am, you had certain people who were African call me African boy. You know what I mean? And so it kind of I saw how the game was going and how it kind of creeped in, you know what I mean? Even for example, North Africans who have very different phenotypes than, sub-Saharan Africans would often say okay, well, I want to go to a safari in Africa, and it's well, why are you saying you want to go to a safari in Africa when your countries are technically in Africa, you know what I mean? So you have that dynamic. Also, among the, Black Americans, I had to deal with, constant insults from them. But, I just took it on the chin. You had, people, I especially got it bad from the women. You know what I mean? Which is why I don't even pay them no money. Yeah, they, you know, it took a lot of, it took a lot of like strength to become like what I've become in terms of like being like almost emotionless. Because, you know, where we come from, we're taught that, you know, you should have a warm heart, that you should have like a, like, you know, like you should have, you should be open. You know what I mean? You should be like, have like, just be a human being, be a decent human being. That's what we're taught where we come from. However, you go outside here and you have to turn cold and you have to adapt. And so, yeah, I always had, and this is no means of me becoming a victim. I'm not trying to make myself a victim. Don't think that. But, I actually, you know, got all kinds of insults from Black American women and Black American men alike. You know, I just took them on the chin, but sometimes I would fight. Not gonna even lie, I would fight sometimes. It's a matter of fact, I'm not gonna even cap. I fought a lot of times, actually. You know, I fought plenty of times when they insulted me. Like, if it was a woman who insulted me and she didn't know me from nil, I would say, okay, go get your boyfriend so I can run it with him. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I was back in the day. Because, you know, where we come from over here, it's like if you showed like a sign of weakness, people would disrespect you. So unfortunately, I was like hard-headed, and, you know, when I felt disrespected, I would want to fight. You know what I mean? So, you know, unfortunately, this trend is now coming into the continental African space. So you have a trend, and this is even amongst like their fellow countrymen. You have a trend where, you know, Nigerian men are saying that Nigerian women are ugly and they look like men and they have masculine features. And unfortunately, this is kind of adding to ammo with the already like side of the street wars that we already have. You know, of course you have like, and it's not all East Africans. I'm not saying it's all East Africans, but you have like, you know, Africans from the Horn who, you know, because of their phenotype and because of their interactions with people from across the Red Sea, you know, they have an air of, you know, superiority about themselves. So you do see, for example, them making fun of West Africans and then making fun of Bantus, and actually saying that, you know, and actually being like very, like, I guess you can say, feeling offended, like when, for example, when a West African marries an East African woman. An example of this is when Idris Elba married his wife, his current wife. His wife is from Somalia originally. And, you know, Idris Elba is of Ghanaian, Sierra Leonean descent. Yeah, you had a lot of Somali people, a lot, especially a lot of Somali men up in rage about this. And, you know, this is not really conducive to like us getting better as a people. And I'm talking about like as Africans. Like, we're already kind of like looked at as ridiculed and things like that. You know, we're already looked at as a backward continent who can't get ahead because of, you know, military juntas, dictatorships and stuff like that. But when we add the toxicity that we find amongst the Western Black people to our thing, it's not going to do us no good. You know what I mean? It's really not going to do us good. You have like Nigerians. You have also East African women who are saying that, you know, Nigerian women and for a large part West African women are, you know, have manly features and look like men. And the thing is, it's like you can't really pigeonhole like all West African women into one thing, because you have different types of West African women. You have Tuareg women who come in all shades and all colors, who, you know, you may think are like even Mexican or something like that. You have Sonike women who, you know, look different. You have, let's say Mandinga, Susu, my group, Torobe Fulani, Bororo Fulani. Even those groups are different. Like, for example, like, I'll give you a perfect example. Like, there's red Fulani and black Fulani within our group, and I'm considered a black Fulani. You know what I mean? Because, you know, there's not one Fulani look that can be classified in just, you know what I mean? Although there is like I guess you can say certain things about a Fulani that you would be like, okay, yeah, I know he's a Fula, but it's not like cut and dry, you know what I mean? It's not cut and dry at all, you know? And so when I see this, it's like, whoa, Nigeria is so, don't get it twisted. Nigeria is a big country. The map doesn't do it no justice. There's so many ethnic groups in Nigeria, and this just comes from the history of the country. So for like Nigerian men, and also like other East African men and women alike, to do this, it's like, bruh, like, if you prefer a certain type of African to another type of African, just leave it at that. But don't like throw Nigerian women under the bus, you know what I mean? So that's why it's like, yo, this is not cool. This is not cool at all. Because in Nigeria, you have not just the main ethnic groups like Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, Igbo. You have other groups. You have like Kanuris. You have Shua Arab. You have Tuareg. You have Mande-speaking groups in Nigeria. You know what I mean? You have all these groups. So for you to label, just like for you to label all Nigerians like looking like and saying that they have masculine features and stuff like that, that's not cool. Now, I'm going to end it at this. I do agree, however, that unfortunately Nigerian women are starting to emulate the Wicked Witch of the West. However, you know, I talked to my uncle in Nigeria, and he's like, it's not as bad as, you know, that you would think as the media makes it out to be. You know, it's not as bad, but it's, he said, you know, you can still find that submissive one. But I noticed that the Nigerians out here in the West, they are starting to emulate those ways. I do see it. But for the most part, in the West, this is the thing. In the West, you mostly have like Yoruba, you mostly have Igbo, and the like thereof. You don't really have a lot of Hausa or anything like that. You don't have a lot of that. I mean, there was one time even that there was an evil woman, you know, she found out I was Fulani, and she got very combative. She's like, so that means you're going to have multiple wives then? And I'm like, we'll see what happens. We take it as it comes. And on top of that, though, she was getting ran through so much. You know, this evil woman, like, basically rode so many cock carousels. And she was wondering why she couldn't get a man. And I'm like, well, I mean, you did it to yourself. But that's what I'm saying. I don't have anything against East Africans at all. I have no problem or no quarrel with them. But what I am seeing more and more is that they are kind of having these xenophobic ideas creep in. And this is not like really going to be conducive to us. And you know, granted, I'm not like no Pan-African. Don't get it twisted. I'm no Pan-African, but we already have enough problems as it is. Like, why add another Western element into our problems? You know what I mean? So I've been seeing this more and more. And, you know, I think that Nigerian men too, you know, maybe they need to like just like check themselves as well, instead of like parading this idea about it. And you know, unfortunately what happens is, and I'm going to end it on this, is that if you do have these ideas, you're going to end up like it like the desire for other women turning into a fetish, you know what I mean? And so that needs to stop. I'll give you a perfect example like of how you can't like pigeonhole all types of women. If you look in the country of Sudan, even Northern Sudan, if you look in Northern Sudan, you have all types of women there. You know, you have every single type of woman in terms of like phenotype and things like that of Africans. So you can't like really pigeonhole like women, like Nigerian women. And so I don't know, man. We'll see what happens, but I just saw this, you know, African Parasite brought it to my attention, and we need to not do this. You know, we need to not have this, because it will turn into a gender war, and then it'll turn into a xenophobia war, and we don't need that. You know, we're already having cards stacked against us, so why stack more cards against us? But anyhow, Fula signing out. Njarama.